morning, everyone. We're going to start a little bit late with some prelude music. We'll be starting with Find a Stillness, hymn number 352. Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true In the Bleak Midwinter, number 241.
Good morning, everyone. My fan club over on the left. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Grand Traverse. I am Susan Smith, the coordinator of this service and a member of the Sunday Services Committee. We're glad to have you with us today, whether in person or streaming from home. Today, Reverend Alex will use planting seeds as a metaphor for our congregation's history. As we honor our past, nurture our present, and prepare for a thriving future. I look forward to planting and nurturing my own seeds to build a better future. At the beginning of our order of service, you will note our land acknowledgement, a request to silence electronic devices, and a notice about the book at the front of our sanctuary in which you can record your joys and concerns and/or light a commemorative candle as you prefer. Carl Kyneth from the Congregational Care Team will read what you choose to share a little later in this service. Here at the UUCGT, we are a pluralistic congregation, which means not only that we are different from each other in many ways, but we are interested in our minds, hearts, and souls in knowing and understanding the uniqueness of each individual, and in seeking to know you and all that makes us different from one another. We are enriched as individuals, and we grow and thrive as a community. Accordingly, we enthusiastically embrace your differences and welcome you just as you are to our beloved community. If you are new to our congregation or haven't been here for a while and are willing and able, you may stand to introduce yourself. Someone will bring you a microphone, which will allow even those streaming from home to hear your introduction. However, please feel free to remain seated and silent if you prefer. Is there anyone who would like to introduce themselves today? At this time, I request that we turn our attention to our centering music performed by Julie Gabbets on piano.
Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex. I'm the senior minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. And welcome to this theme that might sound a little bit counterintuitive to those of us in these snowier months, the theme of planting seeds. Thinking about who we are as a congregation, who we have been, and what it is we hope for our future. The seeds we can plant now in the heart of winter that will be nurtured in the dark for the bright spring ahead. As we settle into this time together, I invite you to hear these words from the Unitarian Methodist minister, the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker. She writes, "In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing, because the wild places are in tears. Come, she cries to us, kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground. Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard. Love this world, she whispers. Distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy. Weave wonder from the forest and clothe grief with beauty. Rest in the rhythm of the turning year. Trace the bending arc round the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm. The winter trees stand watch, hallowed in the last gleams of the slanting sun. Glory sings here. Heaven echoes the call, repeating the sounding joy. Make life your answer. Bow, praise, and rise. Come, let us worship together this morning.
As we light the flaming chalice this morning, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism and a reminder of the light within each human heart, please join me in reading our covenant. The words can be found on the back of your order of service. I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. In community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome as we respond to the needs of the world. And we sound the singing bowl to bring us fully into this sacred space.
Rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 352, in the gray hymnal, Find a Stillness.
Carry me, find the silence. People that want to come up, that's fine too. Come on up, friends. Hello. So, this morning we are going to talk a little bit about peace. Oh, hello, friend. You're hiding in the back. Hi there. That's okay. I'm late all the time. It's totally fine. You know what isn't late? The sun. Or the moon, or the darkness. It just keeps going in its little cycles, right? I love the moon. It's a full moon tonight. The moon is the favorite because you get to go to sleep. All right, that's fair. That is fair. So this morning, we are going to talk a little bit about something that's coming up this week, and we're going to continue talking about Advent in the same kind of time. Do any of you know what we are celebrating before Christmas? Because I know we're excited about Christmas, but what are we celebrating this upcoming weekend? Does anybody know? Anybody? Hi, good morning. Winter solstice, yes. What is the winter solstice? What does that mean? Why do we celebrate the winter solstice? Or what is its significance?
It's the longest night.
It's the longest night of the year. Yes, so this upcoming week, the days are getting shorter and shorter, and the nights are getting longer and darker. And on Friday and Saturday, for Friday into Saturday, we will have the longest night and shortest day. And it will be dark, and you get to sleep. It'll be great, right? It'll be great sleeping conditions. If it's cold, it's even better because you can just be so cozy in your bed. But what about how our world is feeling right now? So one of the things that we're hoping for in this time is peace. Does our world feel very peaceful right now? What do we think?
I know my brother doesn't.
Your brother doesn't feel peaceful? Wow. It's what we call throwing brothers under the bus. Yesterday was very not peaceful. Oh man, that is some everything going up in flames picture. So our world doesn't feel very peaceful, and maybe just our lives don't feel very peaceful right now. Sometimes if you're in school, you have Christmas concerts, or you have parties to go to, or
Concert on Tuesday.
your Christmas concert was this past Tuesday or this coming Tuesday? This coming Tuesday. See, you've got your holiday concerts coming up. You've got parties at school. Maybe friends are having parties. Maybe you're going to an ugly sweater party and wearing an awesome sweater like I'm wearing today, right? So, an awesome sweater party. But you have so much going on. And the grown-ups are shopping for the holidays. And they're buying all the food to make the dinner. And it's so busy. But what are the animals doing right now? What is the earth doing right now? What are the animals doing? Think about bears. Hibernating. A lot of the animals are hibernating. And if they're not hibernating, they're at least not out running around all the time. The polar bears are not hibernating. That is true. They're having a grand old time. Except for the reindeers. That is true. The reindeers are getting ready. They got a lot of work to do right now. But the squirrels have been running around, but they are spending a lot more time being cozy and quiet and still while we're out here running around, right? Are we animals?
No.
Yes, we are. You definitely are. We're mammals. That's right. We are mammals.
Like woolly mammoths.
So I have like woolly mammoths, kind of. I mean, woolly mammoths were mammals, and mammoth sounds kind of like mammal. All right, so I have a little reading to do for us this morning. It's called The Spirit of the Season. You're a woolly mammoth. I don't think you're quite that hairy. All right, so this is called The Spirit of the Season. When you're in it, winter can feel like it might last forever. We mammals, so we are mammals, we're animals, right? We may not turn sunlight into food like plants do, but most people do rely on the sun's light to lift their mood and to give them energy. We haven't seen a lot of the sun's light, right? The days are shorter and it's just been kind of cloudy and gloomy. It was kind of nice yesterday, though. Before there were clocks, people would rise with the sun and go to bed when it got dark. It makes sense that as the days shorten, our energy levels might decrease. I don't know if that's true for you guys. You might be like, woohoo, party. But me personally, I'm getting tired.
It's nighttime. Ellie's just reading.
Who's Ellie? You're just reading? Oh my goodness. Bears hibernate in caves. Frogs and fish swim to deeper levels of the pond where it doesn't freeze. Birds migrate to their summer homes. We humans mostly go about our daily business. If anything, we might be even busier than usual with schoolwork and rushing around preparing for the winter holidays. Waking up day after day to darkness and gray skies can be depressing. Do the things you know keep you strong, happy, and healthy, and practice them even if you've lost the excitement for them. Find ways to sneak in magic and creativity into your day. Add tasks to your to-do list, like write a poem or sing a song to my cat.
Go to bed.
These simple things can help remind you of who you are and what you are capable of. Try sharing your magic with others who might be having a hard time. Send your poem to a friend or perform your song for your family. Winter is an important time to spread joy and peace, passing it on so all can benefit. On the winter solstice, the tilt of the earth is angled farthest from the sun, causing the shortest day of the year and the longest night. Near the north and south poles, the longest night seems endless. The sun stays below the horizon for weeks before and after the solstice. The ground is hard and frozen, and the world outside is asleep. In many places, the land is blanketed in snow. The trees are bare, and without light, few plants grow. All is quiet. Many animals have either left for warmer climates or entered a state of hibernation, huddled inside somewhere, living off whatever food has been saved or the reserves that their bodies have stored. During difficult times, there's less rejoicing and more prayer. When warmth and light are scarce, people must make or find their own. And so we join together through hardship, creating the glow of fellowship. What does fellowship mean? Anybody know? Friendship, yeah, it's kind of like friendship, being together in community. Have any of you watched Lord of the Rings or read Lord of the Rings? There's the Fellowship of the Ring, right? Yeah, I see, yeah, the grown-ups, some of the grown-ups, your dad has, yeah. So the Fellowship of the Ring is the people that are all together that are gonna take the ring on the big journey and destroy it.
Dad's doing boring work.
Your dad's doing boring work, I'm so sorry. All right. Despite the harshness of the season, this time of year is associated with merriment and goodwill as we struggle to survive another winter together. Even though the darkest season will last long after the winter solstice, the shortest day is tinged with hope because the sun has declared its return, and it can only get brighter from here on. But winter isn't just about yearning for the light of spring. It reminds us to find our joy and to find stillness wherever we can. There is hope and relief to be shared even on the darkest day, especially when we come together. So this week, as these long, long days happen, and you're getting ready, are we making a knot? What are we doing? As we're getting ready to go on holiday break, and school might seem endless if you're in regular school, or even if you're at home doing school, it might just seem like, oh my goodness, I want to get to my winter break, I want to get to Christmas, I'm feeling so impatient. Take a moment, find some stillness, find some peace within yourself and within your space to just rest. Does that sound good? Does that sound good, grown-ups? The grown-ups say amen. All right, so we're gonna light our candles. And since we're a little squirrely this morning, I'm gonna ask you to move down to the carpet just so we don't knock our candles over. Just a little squirrely squirrels. All right, so I've got our Advent candles. I've got our Advent reading.
I got an Advent calendar.
You have an Advent calendar that has Legos in it or chocolate or something delicious. All right. So first, in the first week of Advent, we lit the candle of hope. And last week, we lit the candle of joy. This week, here is our prayer. Maker of the universe, whose being is in all things, both in the day and the night, both in the day and the night, eternal, teach us to seek peace. Help us to find that which brings calm to our breath and compassion to our hearts, and show the way toward a loving and peaceful world. Help us to light the way toward justice, to be a candle in the window, a star in the night sky, a way to find the path that leads us in the ways of peace. In the true belief that someday this world can become a beloved community that holds all in its care, we light this candle of peace.
I knew it was gonna be peace.
You knew it was going to be peace? Is that because I just talked about peace? All right, let's sing our song, friends.
I'm clapping.
We are children of the orchards, we are children of the fields, we are planters and reapers in this web of life, and the vision that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being. We are children of tomorrow, we are children of our dreams, we are planners and builders in this web of life, and the future that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being.
Grab your coats. Because we're gonna go outside.
Well, we're going that way.
In keeping with our theme today, I've been tasked with describing some of, let's say, our past plantings and our becoming who we are today. Let us imagine ourselves standing at the center of a bridge, leaping from a quiet, green forested shore to a bright, charming small city at its opposite end. Beneath us, a clear, sparkling stream, or let us say a small river, bubbles continuously below our feet. And mentally, standing there in our mind's eye, our future upstream hurtles towards us downstream, while bubbling away just from behind us, the past tumbles, fading away into the distance. Between these two opposites, we, you and I, stand at the present moment, an eternal, non-dimensional point of a forever changing spot of time where what will be continuously and instantly becomes what just happened. 60 years represents a healthy chunk of time, a chunk that has brought us to the present moment at UUCGT. So it's appropriate that I ask you to come along with me as I look backward for a few moments and ponder how we, as a Unitarian, Universalist congregation, have evolved over this period of time. Founded 6 decades ago, in 1964, our present congregation, UUCGT, came together with an original 31 founding members and was accepted into larger fellowship by the Association of Unitarian Universalist Congregations. The river of the past has since carried away each of those 31 founders. And sadly, none but a very few of us are here today who knew even more than several of those founders. Those names on the founding list most likely to surface: Marianne Force and Jim and Judy Gamble. In 1964, excuse me, our small congregation called itself the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Grand Traverse, identifying itself as a fellowship because being a small lay-led religious community, and within a decade, the annual budget had risen to somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500. The annual budget, which included, by the way, full payment of dues to UUA. Hello. And renting a windowless science lecture hall in the NMC Science Building. Our physical assets consisted of a large metal cabinet, mostly containing religious education curriculum materials, a set of UU hymnals, and a small collection of educational nursery toys, all stored and locked in a locked closet in the basement of that building. Contrast this with our present congregation of approximately 180 members, plus another 180 or so friends, an annual budget of nearly $250,000. Assets including a fine building of our own on a beautiful natural site and a gifted professional staff, including, of course, our minister, settled minister, and office administrator, and director of RE, and director of music. And I could add some more, but anyway, it's a healthy staff. Begun as a small lay congregation, including remarkably 30 children, they first met in homes, then moved to classroom space at NMC. That is where I found UUCGT in a windowless science lecture hall when I joined in early 1978. Membership had grown to about 75, with an RE program enrollment bouncing around in the 30s. Shortly after, about 1981, an opportunity arose to move out of the dark to the meeting house of the Traverse City Women's Club at Washington and Rose. Daylight and physical presence in the outside world and the outside community. Still homeless, however, our fellowship was growing and had reached a point where dual questions of professional leadership and a place of our own were struggling to the surface of our community consciousness. A trial run at a shared ministry, along with two small congregations in Midland and Big Rapids, had mixed results. But despite disappointment, the experience nevertheless reinforced a general acceptance of the value of such, meaning professional, I don't want to use the word leadership, but guidance. Yeah. And the congregation formed a search committee, which ultimately resulted in the calling of the Reverend Emmylou Belcher as our first full-time UU minister, to be followed shortly by a move to an empty church building at 5th and Oak Streets. While still not our own, this location did provide us with a long, suppressed opportunity to wield paintbrushes, scrub buckets, hammers, and saws, and physically celebrate a space somewhat our own. A telling anecdote from this experience was the removal of a large, rather crude wooden cross from the center of the sanctuary, which, in classic UU form, and meaning no disrespect to an alternative religious community, was refashioned into bookshelves for our new minister's office. This move also occasioned the purchase of the congregation's second significant piece of furniture. Remember the first? A metal cabinet filled with RE supplies and hymnals. With funds from Bob and Peter Williams' moving sale, the congregation purchased a piano, the one which has lovingly served us well until this year, when it was retired for a stronger, younger one. Think about it. Our first community possessions, a cabinet of learning supplies, and a piano. Does that say something about the values and priorities of this community? By the late 80s, the fellowship had felt stable and strong enough, well, maybe just courageous enough, to consider the prospect of building a space of our own, with clever, skillful planning and as well as dedicated financial support. Property was generously gifted by Peter and Bob Williams, a capital campaign launched, and an architect hired to design a building, at last, of our own. Not long after Emmylou Belcher brought her ministry to us, our fellowship carefully redesignated itself as a congregation. A majority still mostly uncomfortable with the label church. Now, there's a subject for an interesting discussion. But what is it that first comes to mind when the letters UUCGT pass through your mind? Is it a pleasant structure on a lovely hillside just outside Traverse City? Or is it a special, beloved community, names and identities of varied and active friends and comfortable acquaintances of the past and the present? I'd like to think the latter, a coming together of multi-experienced, generous people, comfortably sharing like social values and widely different life experiences. Proud, comfortable, and grateful for our building and our own precious piece and place in the wider world, caring for it responsibly and lovingly, we've created a building to shelter us. But fundamentally, it is our personal relationships which bring us together and call us to identify actively and fondly as the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Grand Traverse.
Wow, thank you, Richard. This is the time of our offering. And my screen went its own way by itself, I like to think. We are fortunate to be able to sustain a congregation such as this, knowing that it is not just for today, but for next week, and next month, and next year, for our ancestors and for our progeny, and for the circle of mankind. Our offerings reflect our commitment to our UU shared values. In addition to sustaining this congregation, Our stewardship allows us to reach out to those who are the most marginalized and vulnerable among us. On Friday night, UUCGT hosted a community presentation by Father Wayne from the Gaylord Diocese and Gladys Munoz from the Justice and Peace Advocacy Center. They told us about their much-needed, never-ending, never simple or straightforward work with the immigrants in our own community who suffer mercilessly through no fault of their own. Because of the generosity of our congregants, Reverend Alex was able to announce a UUCGT donation of $1,000 to the Justice and Peace Advocacy Center to further their work. Our gifts to our offering, large and small, are received with gratitude, for it is together that we are strong enough, wealthy enough, and wise enough to make this congregation, this beloved community, thrive and grow. It is these gifts that permit us to reach out to those marginalized and vulnerable in our community. Now, as the baskets are being passed, let us enjoy the meditation music played by Julie Gaubitz.
Good morning. I love it that when the music plays, people are humming under their breath. I just love that about us. And I love the theme of today as well. I really appreciate the historical perspective shared by Richard. I am filled with gratitude that our founders made this place possible. I have always believed having a better understanding of one's foundation helps to build a future that is solid, authentic, and sustainable. I am a nostalgic and sentimental person by nature. I don't know about you, but over the years, I have found myself wishing for things to be more like they used to be, especially these days when there seems to be more change than I can handle. Yet while I honor and learn from history, I also find so much vitality and inspiration when I embrace new ideas and open myself up to new ways of being and living. It is important to me that UUCGT honor the wisdom of our history and aspire to be agile in this dynamic world. I joined this congregation almost by accident in the fall of 2022. I had seen a news segment about the organization called Braver Angels and an announcement that the next gathering was scheduled to take place in this building. This was all new to me, but I was up for an adventure. I came to check this venue out a week before the event, which ultimately got canceled due to low enrollment. As soon as I walked in the door, I was warmly greeted by Chris Lautz. I cannot overemphasize what a difference Chris made. And Emily Mitchell also made sure that I had a hymnal and an order of service. In fact, I sat down without one and she ran and got one for me. It was so kind. It was a lay-led service led by Mary Van Valen that celebrated the fall season and visual art, and I was drawn in. After the service, Emily listened as I went on and described my spirituality as something that cannot be housed in only one place of worship. And she said, "Oh, that sounds like you're a Unitarian." And I thought, could I be in the right place? The next service I attended was a celebration of Halloween, my favorite holiday. I never forgot the feeling I had when I saw Alex as he appeared as Harry Potter. And Renee Russell was dressed up as a phoenix, and while she sang like an angel with her guitar, who would ever choose to leave this heavenly place? In the past 2 years, I have been basking in love, support, and a sense of beloved community. I truly have found my herd. I am grateful for the abundance of freedom as I explore my spirituality. I have found ways to share my gifts and love with this congregation, including singing in the vocal ensemble and serving in the Vision, Mission, and Covenant Task Force for over a year, and serving in the Committee on Ministry. I also just started getting more involved with our wonderful social justice action work that we are doing. I see this as an opportunity to make a difference in our hurting world. It brings me hope when together we can hone in on how we can make positive changes locally. It truly feels empowering and inspiring during a time filled with anxiety and fear. I am continually surprised at how receptive that you all have been hearing my ideas as a new member, and it makes me love you all the more and want to continue being a part of this community. And I plan to pay it forward and be as warm and welcoming to new members as you were to me. Happy holidays, everybody.
I'm Carl Kyneth, a member of the Congregational Care Team. It is our practice as a religious community to set aside time in our service to name and honor the joys and concerns that mark our lives, the milestones and moments of our lived experience. I will be sharing the joys and concerns that have been offered up for us to hold on our hearts today. If you have a joy or concern that is a bit too heavy to share, I invite you to reach out to Reverend Alex or a member of the Congregational Care Team. If your joy or concern is still raw and tender, we invite you to hold it on your heart as you are held in this loving community. None of us is meant to travel life's journey alone. And now, dear ones, here is what has been shared with this gathered community. Teresa S. says, "Please send prayers and healing energy for my friends Ted and Janie. Ted had open heart surgery last week and is recovering well. His wife Janie is exhausted but grateful." Kim Grebe says, "So thankful that Millie Putz had major back surgery at U of M a few weeks ago and is receiving great care as she goes through rehab at Mary Freebed in Grand Rapids. I spoke with her last night, and her sense of humor is intact. Can't wait to have her back with us at UU." Mary Van Valen says, "So proud of our minister when he began the Building Beloved community gathering in both English and Spanish. So welcoming to all. We learned so much from Gladys Munoz and Father Wayne. We will work hard to be of help to our immigrant neighbors." And now, let's hold a moment of stillness for the concerns and joys that remain in the silence of our hearts.
Please join me now for a moment of meditation and prayer, and close your eyes and take a deep breath at your own pace. And just let the noise of the world fall away for just a moment. Now turn your attention inward. In that quiet sanctuary of your mind, picture a small seed nestled deep within you. This is no ordinary seed. It is unique, carrying the essence of your heart's longing, your deepest hopes for the world, your quiet call to love. Can you feel it? The seed may still be waiting, or perhaps it stirs gently, drawn by something unseen but deeply felt within you. With every breath, send your love and compassion to this seed. Breathe in and feel the warmth of your heart's energy flow into it. Let your care nurture it and watch it respond, pulsing with life, vibrant and alive with possibility. Remember, a seed's journey begins in the dark. In the soil hidden beneath the surface, it is cradled by the earth and nourished in stillness. Even in the dark of winter, the seed is at work, gathering strength, holding fast to the quiet promise of what will come. So too must this seed within you be nurtured in its season of darkness. And so pour your love into it and trust that even when the light seems far from you, something sacred is stirring. This seed holds something precious, a vision of how the world might be different, better, even healed. It carries within itself your gifts, your compassion, and your courage to act. Now ask yourself, where in this wide, beautiful, and aching world is this seed needed most? Where do the roots of love need to take hold in our world? Perhaps a place of division, of suffering, of neglect in our world today? Or maybe it's a place closer to home, in a relationship, in a community, a part of your own self longing for kindness. Picture the seed in your hands now and see yourself planting it, offering it your care and trust, and imagining the transformation it will bring. Know that as this seed takes root, it will grow into something beautiful, something that can only come through you. A love that heals, a hope that lifts, a courage that acts. And now breathe deeply once more at your own pace. May you carry the seed of transformation into the world, nurturing it through the darkness and planting it in the soils of this wounded world, trusting in its bloom to come. And when you are ready, open your eyes and wiggle your toes and fingers, and let us go forth to plant seeds of love wherever they are needed most. Amen. Would you please join in singing a special song of response today, Dark of Winter, number 55, in your hymnals. It's in the gray hymnal. This is a beautiful hymn for the dark of wintertime and the many emotions and feelings that this season can bring. So let us join together in singing.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Wintering, the Power of Rest in and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May. In this excerpt, May reflects on the quiet transformations of winter, a time when seeds are planted for spring, and the starkness of the season also reveals the possibilities that lie ahead. She writes, "Transformation is the business of winter." In Gaelic mythology, the hag deity known as Cailleach takes human form at Samhain to rule the winter months, bringing winds and wild weather. Her steps change the land. Mountains are formed from rocks dropped from her baskets. Valleys are shaped by her hammer. A touch of her staff freezes the ground. The Cailleach, thought to be the mother of the gods, reigns until May, when Brija takes over. In some versions, the two are faces of the same goddess. Youth and vitality for summer, age and wisdom for winter. The Cailleach offers a cyclical metaphor for life, where spring's energies emerge anew, nurtured by winter's deep retreat. We often imagine life as a linear march from birth to death, but this is a brutal untruth. Life meanders like a woodland path, with seasons of flourishing and seasons when the leaves fall, revealing bare bones. Given time, they grow again. The dropping of leaves by trees, called abscission, is part of an arc of growth and renewal. As days shorten and temperatures fall, trees stop making food. Chlorophyll breaks down, revealing oranges and yellows that were always present. Other pigments create red and purples. Meanwhile, a layer of cells weaken, severing the leaf from its water until it falls dried and browned. Within hours, the tree heals the scar left behind, protecting itself. Even as leaves fall, buds for next year are already formed, waiting for spring. These buds, hidden by summer's greenery, are revealed in winter, protected by thick scales. Trees are never dormant. They quietly prepare. Fallen leaves mulch the forest floor, roots draw winter moisture, and bark shelters insects. Far from dead, the tree is the life of the wood, getting on with it quietly. Winter's starkness reveals colors we might miss. The burnish of bracken, crimson brambles, berries on honeysuckle, and gorse's bright yellow glow. Life endures and transforms in winter, ushering us toward future glories.
Well, I'm so profoundly grateful for the reflections from Richard on our past, the history of where we've been, and those visionaries that dreamed us up into existence, and also from Catherine for our present moment, the magic of who we are today, and this magic that is just so contagious that it invites and welcomes new folks to come in and join us. I just want to say thank you to both of you for those really wonderful reflections. Now, I have the heavy task of talking about the future. Who knows where we're going, right? Something that still doesn't feel easy to do at this uncertain future of ours ahead at the turn of this new year. But what is certain to me is that we as a community are needed just as much now, if not more now than ever before. UU congregations have become especially more relevant, places where you can find like-hearted people who share your values, places where we nurture the seeds of compassion and understanding within ourselves, where we practice how to bring compassion and understanding into the wider world and grow in our own collective sense of faith in this better world that can still be. Now, I haven't been around UUCGT very long. I'm only in my 4th year now of starting as your minister, and I wasn't around for some of the special moments and memories of our past, much like many of our newer members today who have recently joined us. But that being said, I can tap into my own treasured memories of my own home congregation, my own home UU congregation, where I cut my teeth in UU, back at Mission Peak UU congregation in Fremont, California. Founded in 1993, just 3 years older than I am, Mission Peak was a congregation of about 90 members. When I was there as a teenager encountering them, 90 members. We held services in the social hall of the local Methodist church. Picture all these maroon folding chairs and black seat cushions, hymnals strewn and sprawled all across the floor. Have any of you ever read that book, Because of Winn-Dixie? Any of you? Well, there's a part of that, there's a scene in that where they talk about the church that's meeting out at the old grocery store. So I have always kind of associated this home congregation with that, all these folding chairs, kind of pack it in and bring it out for next Sunday. And I remember our own beloved rhythms and traditions there at Mission Peak, meaningful services that pushed and nurtured us spiritually, social justice teach-ins and book groups, especially doing banned book readings at our congregation, pretty edgy. We had an illustrious sandwich squad, as they were known, folks that would make sandwiches on Sundays after the service for local food pantries. Not to mention the stunning music on Sundays. Not stunning because it was always professional or concert-grade music. There was just something organic about the music feeling authentic and real, offered as a gift from within our own community. They even had their own rock band, by the way. They were known as the Peak Rocks, named after the tallest mountain peak in the East Bay Area, Mission Peak, hence the congregation's name. You might think this to be a tiny congregation of just under 100 members, but you'd be unwise to underestimate them. This was and is a mighty congregation. The planting seeds theme is relevant here too. Mission Peak as a congregation renewed its own mission and covenant statements and thought deeply about what it is that they wanted to accomplish as a community. They landed on the idea of a community food garden where they could grow food to support local food needs. And they networked with even a local vet clinic that gave them the land for this garden. It was even called the Stone Garden. I think there's maybe a photo up here that they have of the logo designed for it. It's a bit of a confusing name. When you hear Stone Garden, you don't always think vegetables. But this was named in honor of the vet, Dr. Chris Stone Payne, who generously gave them a free long-term lease of that land. The congregation then harnessed a network of volunteers to make it happen, including other local organizations that were aligned with this goal of growing food for those in need. To this day, this garden produces over 3,000 pounds of food each year. Talk about an ongoing, amazing impact. And so UUCGT itself has already just been through this process where we've renewed our own mission and covenant statements. And I want to say how pleased and impressed I am with the work of the Vision, Mission, and Covenant team who worked on this to produce this for over a year and a half of long meetings after the board first dreamed it up. And it's so gratifying for me to actively see those ways that these statements are being woven into the fabric of our community. We have a lot of amazing recent examples of our congregation rallying around good trouble, radical love, lifelong learning, and yes, of course, beloved community. You've all made me so proud in so many ways that I won't even try to list our resume that's kind of growing, where you all have just shown up to make mission happen. But the truth is that we are now at a pivotal step in this process. We're now at the point of doing some strategic thinking and planning for our future, thinking about what it is that we want to do to align with our mission. One of those important questions is, what do we want our mission project to be here at UUCGT? Is it creating a community food garden? Or maybe opening a micro preschool in the back classrooms to support this drastic need for childcare in our area? Is it creating opportunities for affordable housing? Or maybe it's something around protecting the most vulnerable among us. That's what we've got to decide today. What it is we want to plan for to create this exciting future. This is our chance to plant the seeds now that we'll watch grow and flourish when spring comes. And in talking about the excitement of our future, part of this is also pausing to take stock of where we are and where we've been. This congregation has a rich 60-year history, all the way back from starting as a dream from two like-hearted women to have a place to raise their kids, all the way to those lab benches over at NMC where they used to hold services, lighting the chalice with the periodic table of the elements on the wall. Richard, I don't know if anybody ever lit Bunsen burners, but that's kind of what I think about, you know? I'm just saying it would be a cool thing to do. After a couple of other moves and iterations, we even have our own building today, plus an expansion that happened to allow for even more classroom space, this beautiful campus that we now gather on. We are here today because of the seeds that others have sown, those dreams that have flourished and have given us so much fruit. Our reading from Wintering that Susan shared has something meaningful to tell us. A message for wintertime, but also for the stage where we're at as a congregation. Youth, vitality, and age and wisdom are different faces of the same season. What a powerful thought that is. A time of winter like we're in now, of growing darkness and lessening light, is a powerful time of nurturing and renewal. This time for rest and introspection is the magic behind spring's abundant energy. In this sacred threshold in time, we must also tend to what we feel inside ourselves. The grief and loss that accompanies the growing darkness, the sadness for what has been and what will no longer be, the precious memories and touchstones of this beloved place, wondering too about how these memories can be made and even reborn again into this community's future. We as a congregation are not on a linear path from start to finish, amen? I think we're more on that meandering woodland path. Congregations are always in arcs of growth and renewal, working through cycles of enthusiasm and hope, just as much through exhaustion and stagnation. We ourselves are always in a season of birth and rebirth. What will we choose to be reborn into? What dreams from the past can we celebrate today? But what seeds might we also plant in this present moment for the bright and flowering future ahead? Friends, you must be a part of this moment. You, yes, you, are essential to making this community our own. Where do you dream of us going? What will be our mark on developing our unfolding future? Friends, I invite you to plant those seeds, to give yourself over to the dream of who we can still be and all that we can be now. We've still got a lot of work to do in this world. So let's start planting those seeds. Amen. Let's join now for a brief moment of stillness. I have a special video and song for us to close with. It's actually the song that gave me this title for the service, Planting Seeds. It's basically a song that comes from my time back in divinity school when we were able to sing this with our school choir. I just invite you to watch this and even sing along as you catch on to the chorus. I think you'll find it a powerful message.
I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing
It's like
more.
your whole life you've been training for this moment, and when the time comes you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it, not interested in the clay pots and mold it, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go it overflows with no credit to take, cause no credit is home. A higher power working deeper where the seeds are sowed, and when the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does, you just smile, cause now you know. I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
When it grows, it grows.
Whatever dies will
And when it dies, it dies. Come on.
Works will
If it works, it works.
Whatever flies will
Let it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
When it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will soar.
And when it soars, it soars.
I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
Let it grow, let it
Whatever
grow.
dies will
When
die.
it dies, it dies.
Whatever works will
And when it works, it works.
Whatever flies
Yeah,
will fly.
let it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
If it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will soar.
Let it soar.
I am planting seeds
And nothing more.
Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will
When it dies, it dies.
works will
When it works, it works.
fly.
Yeah, let it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will
If
fail.
it fails, it fails.
To soar will
Come
soar.
on, let it soar.
I am planting seeds.
And nothing more.
Wow, thank you for that video. Today we extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we take in our hearts out and into the world until we meet again.
I just have a couple of quick announcements. I know we're a little bit over time today. We'll get you out and going soon. Winter solstice, as Chelsea mentioned, is happening this Friday, December 20th, both at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. We have two rituals that are exactly the same, but separated with some dancing, revelry, and music from North Bay Celtic, a wonderful Celtic music group. We also need a lot of help, though. So you might have seen the sign-up sheet that came out in the flash. Make sure you tune into that and see if there's a way that you can help, either bring some bread or soup or some firewood. We appreciate all the help we can get. We also have this next Sunday, a special Sunday service called the Seasons of Light service. We have a lot of folks in the congregation who are bringing poems, prayers, readings from their different religious traditions. It's a beautiful expression of all the different traditions this time of year, the religious traditions that look to that sacred dance of darkness and light. So you'll really want to be a part of that. It'll be a really meaningful service. And lastly, just Christmas Eve is coming up. We hope that you'll be joining us here in our congregation Christmas Eve. We'll have carol sing starting at 3:30 p.m., so come and sing your favorite carols, and then at 4 o'clock we'll have a Christmas Eve service. So you are all welcome, bring your family, and come early so that you can get a seat. So anyway, would you now please rise in body or in spirit and join hands with your neighbor? We also have this wonderful sign of please do not touch me if you're a person that does not like to be touched. Hey, we respect all ways of being here, you know? And those of you online are also invited to not stretch a hand as well to the screen. And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, in the spirit of the seeds we plant now for our future of tomorrow, may we be made ready to serve one another and create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, pass a little squeeze. Happy Sunday.
Thank you.